Hey, everybody. Welcome to Don't Make Me Come Back There. We are a funny podcast about family. My name is Dustin Nickerson. I'm a stand-up comedian and the host of the aforementioned podcast, and I'm getting to it because it's a 2-episode day. Alongside me in our state-of-the-art recording studio above Public Square Coffee in downtown La Mesa is my lovely wife, Melissa Nickerson.
Hey there.
Looking cool, and our producer, Andy Lara, looking normal. We're talking about Rancid and 90s, and Andy and I were doing the thing we always do, which is talk about punk and for 90s and 2000, and then Melissa's like, what about Bare Naked Ladies? And we're like, that band's cool, too. Have you heard the story why they have that name?
I have not.
No.
Because when they were unknown, they would put it on the marquee, and people would come in.
Genius.
It's brilliant.
Genius.
I mean, set up for disappointment.
Yes.
Talk
Big
about
time.
setting somebody up to talk about really believing in your music. Like, hey, they think they're gonna see a naked woman, but instead they're gonna hear a middle-aged guy kind of rap.
Chinese chicken.
I mean,
and
that's
chicken,
misappropriating
and
sex
it's all
workers.
about chicken. All about chicken.
Yeah,
Something
just
about
rapping-
anime.
Yeah, rapping about Chinese food and
Yeah. Anyways.
It's been.
Ruby, and we're off the rails, and we're 1 minute into a 2-episode day. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. If you haven't taken the time to give us a review, shame on you, because the good fans have.
Yep.
They've said things like 5-star review, the best podcast. I don't stop laughing, and since I really do love the podcast, I'm leaving a review like Dustin told us to. That's from the Chris Wood.
Thank you,
this
Chris
one
Wood.
right here, Danny FC. He had like 8 C's there. Good show, 5 stars. This show is good and funny. I recommend it if I had to give it a star rating, and I do. I would give it 5 stars. There you go,
There you go.
everybody. Listen, I know one of the things that I don't that's hard about like podcasts is you don't always get to like share them with people. Like,
What do you mean?
Like you listen to it by yourself, and then you want to talk to somebody about it. And
Yeah.
like, I wish you would have just listened to this with me simultaneously, so we could discuss it.
Share earpods.
And then you're like, my
I said
spouse.
earpods.
Earpods are fine. My spouse doesn't like this one, or I like this one, or
I haven't listened yet.
or we're fighting, or you haven't gotten to it yet, and you're like, you know what would be even better is just discussing this podcast with strangers. Well, guys,
Yeah.
we have that now. We have finally created. It's taken a while, but we finally created
It's off the ground.
off the ground.
I don't know. Yeah. I didn't mean to say
Guys, we got a Facebook group. We got a
Yes.
Dustin Nickerson Comedy Fans Facebook group for those that you like my comedy and you backseaters who love this podcast, and we want you to join it. Who's in that group? Our patrons are already in there. The best of the best.
Uh-huh.
And you could be the best of the best if you want. I want to be the very best.
Dun, dun, dun.
you're the best. All right.
The best is one. You're simply the best. I mean, we can keep going.
Pokemon.
You went back to one we already did.
Dude, sorry.
You missed the point of the exercise.
I didn't know. We had to change it every time.
No, I mean,
It was a callback. It's just a joke.
you guys,
Stop.
Melissa's silly because
Stop.
she was really sad right before the pod.
Yes.
And so we got rolling, and
I
now
told you guys, I said, keep it light.
keep it light.
Keep it light for me.
Keep it light, because Melissa was crying right
I
before.
did not cry.
Melissa,
I was sad.
you were sad,
Dude.
but you know who you could talk to about being sad is the Dustin Nickerson Comedy Fans Facebook
Hey,
group.
hey, fam.
Guys. You guys
I'm a
want
little sad.
You guys want to cheer Mel up? Head over to the Dustin Nickerson Comedy Fans Facebook. There's going to be a link in the bio to or the description, the show notes. Wherever you listen to it, I bet if you search it, you could probably find it too. But wherever you are listening to this right now, Spotify, Apple, that's where it's
Podcasts.
most likely. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. I think Stitcher's probably still around. Wherever you're out.
MySpace.
What's YouTube? You might be watching on YouTube.
Yep, YouTube. Yeah.
The link to the Facebook group is right there. Request to
Yeah.
join. You'll ask you get a couple of
3 questions.
Doug, Mighty Doug created it. Strong patron. Carrie was involved in there as well. Demarius, some of the best.
James.
Yeah.
Yep. We have some great administrators.
Yeah, we
Yes.
really strong group of admins. Mel loves a good admin.
Yes.
They've been
Fantastic.
They've been kicking butt and taking names. Taking names of people to join the Facebook group. And So, and then Mel and I's personal Facebooks are in that group as well. So every once in a while, like they did like an auto welcome for new members, and like I got on there, I was being welcomed to my own group, and I was like, this is, I'm not gonna kind of like this. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
So, anyways,
nice.
go check that out. And then you got someone. Mel listens to crap podcasts, and so I never want to talk about the ones that she'll be like the ADHD affected marriage, and I'm like, okay.
Somebody has to. You know you have a joke right now about how you've read one parenting book.
Yeah.
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 So somebody has to read the other ones.
Well, at least share them in a more entertaining way.
I'll make TikToks just for you.
You're artsy. Make some crafts.
I'm not good at summarizing information and communicating it back.
That's fair.
Like presenting it in like
you were
fleshed out way.
You were telling a story. You were talking to Joel last night. We were talking to Joel in the kitchen because that's when teens want to talk. No, it's not. I don't mean this in a disparaging way. It's more of an observation. It's like Joel's doing the thing. It's the end of the season. He's been sick. It's like getting to the biggest races of the year, and he's struggling with some motivation, and he's a little discouraged. And you kind of just started talking. Like you were like, well, the difference between freshman and sophomore year. And we're like, well, Joel's a junior, so this doesn't necessarily apply. And then you were like, and then Joel said a joke about how you made a joke about reminding the lead girl runner reminds you of you.
And I did not say that.
And then you just kind of did a new story. What's fun about you is you don't know what you're saying either.
No. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it's wildly entertaining.
It's a workshop.
It's an open mic. You're just riffing out here. Ready, shoot, aim. That's how Mel talks.
I don't know.
I love it. I've not had a boring day with you. So I'm just sometimes, and this happens a lot in groups, where we'll be in a group and I'll go, really? Mel's saying that right now. That's the story that it's like you just don't kind of know what's gonna pop up.
I don't either. I will like when we saw Leanne, and I've met her before, I was like, I have
Leanne Morgan.
5 things.
Actually, Leanne rhymes.
I had like 5 things I wanted to compliment her about, but then she zigged and I zagged, and that's just happened.
And then she told the great booty bump story.
And there was context, but I don't want to even give it to you guys. It just happens.
I love it.
And actually,
I love it.
I
find it very charming.
I'm like, why did I say that? But I think it's a good thing, because when you meet someone that you've watched perform live, and then you get to go backstage and meet them, it's like overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you gave me this hour to experience, and I'm going to try and stay chill.
Yeah.
But I'm not chill.
Yeah.
And so if people say something weird to me, I don't perform live, but you do. And then if they say something weird to me, I try to give them the benefit of the doubt that I would ask for when I'm backstage.
It's very random. It's very random what you may or may not say. Listen, guys, get on the Facebook group and you tell us whether or not you want to hear the full booty bump story. Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just giving Mel a hard time because I'm a teaser. And
well, you definitely are just like giving me a hard time. And nobody can craft words like you can.
Well, I just like seeing
so I just enjoy it.
I have an addiction, and that is to see how you'll react to things. I like to just stir up a reaction out of you.
Well, that's so easy to do.
Yeah, well, it's very unpredictable. I don't know what it's gonna be. So it's like a little game I get to play. It's like a little scratch off, but I always win.
Yeah, you're just like sitting in the back, like, what's gonna happen?
What's gonna happen? It's like your reality. You're my reality TV, except it's not fake. It's good stuff. Anyway, so go check out that Facebook group, leave a review, do all the stuff. We got some things to talk about here. We got a weekend recap. It was very unconventional weekend.
Yeah.
For us at least. I got a stranger danger. We got a couple topics. Thinking we might talk about shower window. I want to talk about middle-aged birthdays. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
You know, it's a free country. That was a big phrase there for a while.
It was.
Can I sit here? It's a free country.
And you'd be like, good grief.
Is it, though? Is it?
Don't you dare. Don't.
Is
Nope.
it?
Mm-mm.
Huh?
No.
No.
Someone had to say it.
I got to get that shot to go to a show? Free country, huh?
Dustin, stop.
Huh?
You're doing this for Andy.
I'm doing this just to get a reaction out of people. That's all
I will not react.
Holding back.
One
So
of
much.
Everyone is
yeah.
Holding back.
purposefully.
It's a funny show about family. It's a
Yeah.
funny show about family.
Yeah.
It's a funny show about family.
Listen.
No one's going to give you an inch.
No one's gonna pull you up, pretend you're like where you belong. But where did we do that in this episode or not? We were talking about how oddly deep that song is. But anyways, guys, let's get into it. Weird weekend. So I was in Texas. I flew to Texas on Wednesday night. To quote my dad, back in Texas again. I'm in Texas so much.
Mm-hmm.
Big pastor's gig. It was a conference actually for like church workers, and I got the main room. Ooh, I got the main room. I got the. It's a big deal. You don't want the breakout rooms. I haven't done a conference in a while. I mean, I used to be a conference speaker, I was on the
You'd
circuit.
be on the pamphlet.
Yeah, I'd be on the pamphlet, and then I started doing comedy a few years later, and then I was like. When I was in that, they'd be like, all right, well, you can go 15 minutes in between the band and the speaker.
Yeah.
Before Francis Chan goes up. And, or there's we had a talent showcase where people can hire you and, so you can go between the magician and the clown. And I'd be like, I got kids. So I did a lot of that, but this was like a main room one for a bunch of church workers. I got the main room. This is a big old church too. I don't know if you know this, but there's big churches in Dallas.
Yeah, I saw a map and an email, and it was here's the gym.
Yeah.
Here's the.
They're campuses. They're not. Yeah. Big mall energy. I thought of you because I had to drive through Addison, saw the Galleria. Anyways, continue.
If it's a big church, they have a bookstore
Uh-huh.
and a coffee shop.
And they were really. Yeah,
Sometimes those are merged.
the sacred grounds or whatever, maybe it's classic. But this one they were like, this one's really good. It's really good coffee, and I was like, yeah, there's a runner. I'll go get me some coffee. Yeah, it's I'm sure it's fine, but please, I'm asking for nothing other than a good cup of coffee, please. Yeah. And anyway, but I got the post-lunch session, which is not ideal. So that's where I'm at on the Christian conference circuit right now. I can get main room, which is good, but you post-lunch, which is not good. But they give you post-lunch on purpose because you're the comedian. I was the only... Mm-hmm. But then
it's serious after you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I buried that poor girl after me. She was there was a 10-minute break, and she was the biggest name on the thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
you didn't even tell me about this.
Yeah, and the lead,
now you can't say her name.
The lead guy, it's all very Googleable. But the lead guy was like, you had a great turnout in there. It was really big. We thought it'd be way bigger for her in there because she's a big name, but nobody's in there now. And I was like, all right. I mean, I'll receive this. Thank you. But it went well. But it was it was post-launch, and they were staggering it. It's 12:30. That's what I opened. I said, Jerry Seinfeld, the Pope of comedy, said that the ideal comedy environment is late at night, low ceilings, with a crowd with a couple drinks in them. I was like, so this should go well. It's the complete opposite, And, they were there were some pastors doing the hack pastor jokes before me, the denomination ones. Are there any Lutherans here? You know, yeah, I can tell by the drink in your hand. You're like, that's a Tim Hawkins joke. You stole that joke. You know, Tim.
Didn't it go really late?
Yeah, whenever there's
four,
there's 4 Lutherans, there's always a 5th, which is an alcohol joke. You know, it's fine. It's fine. You get a 5th of booze. Yeah. Yeah, it's like and you're just watching these guys who have done this their whole life. And listen, I've attended conferences with these speakers before, and it's fine. What do I care? But yeah, of course it went long. They always go long. Yeah. Whereas the comedian, I'm like, do you want 45, 55? You want, well, like Taylor and I used to do a bit when we talk about doing colleges and corporates and church gigs and stuff like that, where they'll be like, so like about an hour. So like, what do you, and that's what the contract will say. So we'll get there. So we'll be like, so what do you think? Like 45, 50? And they're, but colleges are always like 60.
Yeah. And not 59.
Yeah. But so anyways, I did 55 and it was great. And what was fun about it was there was like buzz about it, so more people started coming in.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
A fun feeling.
It was a fun feeling. Yeah. It's like the old like videos where you see where bands playing and like, oh, this is actually going pretty well. What I'm saying is I'm Rage Against the Machine of
churches.
of the
church pastors.
I also like, you know, I had not done a church gig in a while, like months. I had not done one in a long time, 6 months, a year. Like where like when I was touring with Tim Hawkins and John Christ and then I would kind of follow up and do these church gigs. I was doing 7, 8 a month, and you just kind of like have to kind of remember church sensibilities. Not about like, because I'm a clean comic, but like you can, if it's all adults, like you can do some sex and innuendo jokes because they're like, well, you're what we approve of. You know, you're allowed to make those jokes.
Yeah.
But like, I'll do a joke about like forgiving your parents, and they'll be like, what? Everything's so good in our life. We like. We don't have trauma in this world. Or like a joke about like drunk driving, and they're like, or a joke about cheating or something like that. And they're like, oh, okay. So there takes some like getting used to. Anyways, it went well. But my favorite part of this is I had a stranger danger. So there's a woman, Nancy was her name. She came up. So I was signing some books after, selling and signing. And she came up. Now I've done a few big church events in Dallas, and one of them is at this church, Gateway Church.
Yeah.
And I went in, and I always feel like a bit of an outsider, even though I am a Christian and we go to church, but like my comic sensibilities don't always line up there because I don't, again, it's like there's just a different
You're not
thing.
a church comic.
There's just a different thing sometimes that they're looking for. I imagine it's like what like POD felt when they would do churches there for a while, and they're like, "Hey, we got to get out of this," you know. Like, anyways, I'm Rage Against the Machine and POD in my analogies here. But this woman Nancy comes, and she goes, "Oh, my name's Nancy, and I've seen you before at the Gateway Women's event."
Yeah.
And I remember crushing at that, and she goes, "And I was not impressed."
What?
And she goes, but you were much better today. She stood in my line. She didn't buy a book. There was a long line. You were much better today. And then I go, oh, okay. And she goes, we just got to be honest, right? and I say to her, no, not really.
You don't want me to be honest right now.
This did not need to be said. Just got to be honest.
She's like, I had to say it.
You had to be honest if I asked you what you thought of my performance. You came to me, Nancy. You got in my line.
Like 2 years ago.
To tell me that I wasn't very good. It was like 4 years ago.
It's so long ago.
4 years ago, I did a thing that you didn't love. Honestly, I wasn't that impressed, but you were much better today. What? And then she said it again, right? You just got to be honest, right? No, you don't.
Well, also, she's a pastor. She should know.
No, Melissa. She works for the organization that hired me. The conference, she was an employee of the conference. She was a conference worker and told me, and then she goes, I see you're going to be in Arizona a few weeks from now, because she's like, that's where she lives.
Oh,
and she goes like, I go, yeah, well, rubber match. 2 out of 3. Maybe you'll see. if you like me, if she comes out and she goes, well, I'm not really, she goes, well, I've never had to pay to see you before.
She asked for comps.
It's like, well, if you came up to me and said, hey, I'm a big fan. I work for the conference. It's great. I'd love to see you in Phoenix. I would have offered you tickets. I'd be like, yeah, because I love giving venue workers and stuff like any venue worker. When I do these theaters with Taylor, they're like, we love you. When you're coming back, I go, message me. I'll comp your tickets. Da 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 da. And I would have probably done that for her. Can we charge Nancy extra?
Come on,
Got to be honest. Just got to be honest. No, you don't. I hate.
Oh my gosh.
It's just.
That's so funny. Well, I think she probably feels like that insider.
Yeah.
She's like, we were going to book you and we talked about it and my boss wanted to book you.
It reminds me of when people.
And I wasn't impressed. Yeah. But you won me over the second time.
It reminds me of when people say, like, don't take this the wrong way. Like, you're about to hear the meanest thing you've ever heard.
Yeah.
Someone is about to hurt your feelings a whole lot. I just got to be honest. No, you don't. Right. I did not seek out this review. You came to me, Nance.
Well, and it doesn't really matter how she feels about your comedy because the success of the event is based on the attendees.
Right.
Not the event.
And they all liked it.
The conference staff.
Yeah.
Like that. So the poll is actually just neutral.
The conversation ended. I go, thankfully, your boss really likes me. That's what I told, because he books me. That's how we ended. Anyway, so.
Well, someone liked me enough to come back.
Exactly.
So thank them. Let them know.
Old Nancy. Okay, so.
Gosh.
Then I went to, that day started with a FaceTime in the San Diego airport, Terminal 1, sipping on a Dark Horse coffee, because they added that in Terminal 1. They're revamping all of Terminal 1.
Yeah, it's a huge mess.
Riveting stuff. Yeah. And a FaceTime from Taylor Tomlinson, and I knew as soon as she FaceTimed me, I knew what it was, because we FaceTime only when there's like an announcement, Yeah. And she'll be like, I got another huge opportunity, and I'll be like, we're having a baby.
It is a funny idea. Don't FaceTime me unless you're announcing a pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The FaceTime anymore, you're like, ugh.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
I feel like as a culture, I'm good on FaceTime.
Like you're fine to FaceTime.
No.
Like we don't need
we're
to know.
good
I don't
to
need
not.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You better have big news if you're going to FaceTime.
If you FaceTime me, it better be something so big you need to see my reaction. Like, if you're FaceTiming me to just say hello.
Because you're just like 0 to 100, you're like, oh,
yeah.
What? Like, what's going on?
Also, because when someone FaceTimes me, I'm like, there's a chance you're going to take a shot over there and post it because you're like, I'm announcing my engagement or something like that. And you're like,
I'm not camera ready.
I'm not camera ready. Yeah. Now, when Mel FaceTimes me, when I've been on the road for a while, to show me her folding the laundry.
What?
She's always folding the laundry.
New spice.
She's always folding the laundry.
My washer broke again. That's why I'm so sad.
Melissa likes to just sit at the table and eat while we FaceTime sometimes. Just you look bored. But we're going to get to boredom.
Bored.
I understand. FaceTime etiquette, but I knew she was calling to tell me that she got that CBS job because I knew she was interviewing and I knew that she was a candidate for it and we'd been involved.
And it's been like 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andy's emotional. He's just so choked up over Taylor's opportunity. And so she FaceTimed me, but I was surprised because she was in her her awesome blue suit she was wearing. And I was like, and then I was like, oh my gosh, you got the job. And then she put together, I'm like, yeah, we're announcing we just filmed to announce it on Colbert. I was like, oh my gosh, you're in New York right now.
Yeah.
She said I was actually a little nervous not to, I was afraid you were going to check my location and know because her and I track each other's location.
Yeah.
And she's my only non-family member I do that for. It's helpful. I like it.
I do that with my bestie and the kids think it's so funny.
Yeah.
They'll tell people. My mom tracks her friend's location. She knows where she is all the time.
Yeah. Well, welcome to life as an adult woman.
Yeah.
Where
seriously.
Yeah. I'd like as many eyes on me as possible.
Exactly.
The scary world out there. So, so she was, I was like, oh my gosh, you're freaking there. This is unbelievable. And they had announced it and it was fun. So I'm like freaking out for my best friend in the Terminal 1. People are like looking at me. And then I got to go get on a plane to go bomb at this pastor's gig. I didn't bomb. I had a good set. And it was fun. She had done a good job keeping a secret, though. And actually, the producers who know we're very good friends said to her, like, you cannot tell anybody, including Dustin, which was nice because she had told them during her screen test, like, can I call Dustin? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. So anyways, and I kind of immediately go into a mode of like, oh, Tay is going to like be tired this weekend because we got to go to Florida. We were supposed to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 6 shows. Mm-hmm. And she'd already started losing her voice. And like, that's a big adrenaline hit to come down from. She lost her voice. She got sick. So,
and the whole news cycle was about her.
Oh my gosh. She was trending. She was all over the place. It was great. I mean, the guy was running in Rolling Stone and BBC. I mean, announcing a new late night show is a huge deal. And so, anyways, I get to Florida and she's voiceless and sick and struggling to get through. And bad story long, the shows get postponed. And now suddenly we're like, it's me, her, Zach Noe Towers, the tour manager, and we're just like, so I guess we're going home. And we were like, and I thought we were gonna do
flight changes,
a bunch of shows in St. Pete, Tampa, and Fort Lauderdale. Ends up I go and spend 2 nights at the W in Fort Lauderdale, which was nice, and then fly home. And suddenly I'm home on a Saturday, and we're looking at each other like, what?
I know. Yeah.
What are we supposed to do now?
Because I had just as crazy of a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, given that our son has been sick like for 2 weeks and we thought the cold was going down, but he was like coughing, and so we're getting him inhalers, and then we are like looking at eligibility. Can he miss school Friday to go to a doctor's appointment?
Right.
Still race Saturday. And so then he got on antibiotics for sinus infection because it had been 2 weeks. And
poor kid.
And you're just trying to make that really hard parenting decision. Like, you know, if he doesn't race, he can't move on to districts, CIF,
right.
This Saturday. So he has to race, and he wants to do it for the team, and he wants to.
Yeah.
But, like, does he have the lung capacity to do so?
I know.
And you don't want your kid to get, like, carried off on a stretcher.
I mean, this happened to you your junior year. You were hurt your junior year, right? You had a hip thing?
Yeah, I had a couple things. Like, one, I got, like, a flu bug at league. And
not to mention when you got walking pneumonia when you were a kid, a cheerleader at
I was at the
Dallas
Cowboys Stadium.
She had sold the most pies.
I sold so many pies to get there. Dallas is 2 hours away. What was I selling? We were like 5 in a room. I made that cheerleading team so much money off those pies. And then I got pneumonia, so no good deed goes unpunished.
That was your first lesson of no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah.
And
no, it wasn't
that you can make the most. That might just be your best example from your youth. You made that. You got all those other little cheerleaders from Burke Burnett to the stadium.
I skipped the rehearsal day.
Uh-huh.
Some poor chaperone had to like stay in the hotel with me.
Yeah.
I was coughing so much.
Where were your parents?
Well, they didn't come.
Oh,
it was,
I see.
You know, you have like 3 kids and 1 chaperone in a room.
Right.
And I was like on a rollaway. I remember that.
That poor chaperone. Now that I think about that as an adult, you're like, that's the worst night of my life.
And they're like, hey, you stay over here. So like I was having zero fun. And then Sunday morning was the football game.
Yeah.
And we were performing at halftime with probably like 5,000 other little Texas cheerleaders.
Yeah, it's a dream. And you didn't get to do it.
No, I had to go home. My dad had to pick me up. I slept the whole way home. And then I moved.
And now you have pie trauma. This is why you hate team fundraiser so much. You're like, well, this might backfire.
Well, in 1996, I sold the most pies.
Wichita Falls County. What county were you in?
Like 120 pies.
Really?
They're frozen pies.
That's a pie to everybody in Burke Burnett.
My mom had to ask neighbors to use their freezers because we had to distribute the pies.
Wow.
And we were also moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would give you some serious pie TSD.
You missed it.
I did.
You missed it. Pie TSD. You missed it. It was right there.
That's right. There.
Yeah.
This was also the Christmas I had walking pneumonia.
And who knew 25 years later,
yep,
your daughter would eat her own Girl Scout cookies.
It really was full circle.
Oh, man.
Youth
fundraisers are such a crock, man.
They are.
I understand.
Speaking of which, we have one going on right now.
I know. If you guys want to support, you just...
I'm kidding.
Every time the team asks you to raise money, you're like, where did the league fee go? What did the...
I know.
Okay.
And you're talking to someone who just renewed a martial arts contract last night.
Martial arts is great, but it is not cheap. It is expensive to teach your daughter to defend herself. And
we have invoices awaiting for our new volleyball program that our other
everybody
trying out for.
hurts.
So, yeah, it's pricey.
Sometimes.
It gets you either way. Yep.
Well,
where were we? Oh, so
we're talking about our weekend.
He did run, and he did not get taken off on a stretcher, so I could breathe a slight sigh of relief.
Well, and then
we had 3 children at 3 events.
Yeah.
They were all dropped off before 8 a.m.
So I got home, but not in time to be helpful. Not any time to... What I did get home in time for was the fall festival, the school fall festival, which was after...
They do it after.
I
think Halloween. It used to be during Halloween.
Yeah.
Like leading up to Halloween.
It wasn't as nice as it's been in previous years.
PTA is, rebuilding.
Yeah.
And that's okay. COVID killed a lot of things. Yeah.
COVID killed the... And it's coming back. It's just
going to be different.
That being said, there was one guy crushing the cakewalk. There was a dad or a teacher.
The cakewalk.
They were dancing. They were moving. They were giving away.
Everyone doing jumping jacks.
It's great.
It was
burning that cake off.
It was amazing. Yeah.
And then
and our daughters had a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. One of them had a great time, and then the other was
just a 4th grader
teenager who did what a teenager does, which is like, I'm gonna go lean against the fence.
We're gonna sit on these stairs.
We're moved from the fence to the stairs. Can we go get Starbucks? So we ended up having a nice little weekend where we were at the Fall Festival. I went and did a show. We hung out. I was like, do you want to hang out at this show? And you're like, can we go get food? And then we went and got some Hodads. So good.
Yeah.
Hodads is great in San Diego. We've been like 4 times in our 12 years
that
it's
was
here.
Our second
time. Every time you're like, this is great. What am I doing here?
They have it at Petco. They have it, which is awesome.
That was a bug.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Do they have it up by you?
No.
Oceanside? No, just Ocean Beach.
Not that I've seen.
Well, I will say this, though. So our daughter had a sleepover that night. If your kid is going to sleep over at my house, you tell me when you're going to pick them up the next day. We had a pending pickup that I almost made my daughter end that friendship over. I like this kid, and I like you as a family. This kid needs to go back to its family. I don't like the...
I'll tell you why. Because, Andy, as your kids get older, they coordinate everything. Like, my daughter is inviting her friends to her birthday party. I don't know who's coming. I don't know who's RSVP'd. I don't know who she's texted. But they have to learn. It's their event.
Right.
And so this happens with sleepovers. Like, sometimes a parent will want like a text, like a parental okay. Okay, the girls have planned this. Do you know this?
Yeah.
Yes, they can come over. And that's kind of as far as you can get.
Yeah.
And then once you have other drivers in the house, suddenly we're waiting on like a 19-year-old to be the ride.
Yes. We're waiting on the brother pickup.
And I've even had kids, like after Joel's birthday party, his 16th birthday party, someone was getting an Uber. And you're like, what's going on?
Right.
It's 11 p.m. You came over to my house at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
So, like, where are we at?
Mm-hmm.
And that happens, you know?
I just don't.
Transportation is tough. They don't have it.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't have it.
I just have about like a 12-hour cutoff I can do with another kid. Where I'm like, get out of my bathroom. Why are you here? You are not my kin.
Well, at one point I told the girls, I was like, Dustin is X, or, you know, like I was announcing something that was happening, and instead of saying Dad, I said Dustin.
Hilarious.
And they gave me such a hard time, and I was like, what do you want me to say? Like,
well, what happens is,
here's your Starbucks, here's your fall festival, here's your pancakes.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Well, what you realize is you have a patience level. You have a patience, like, I'm not patient with my kids. I'm even less patient with another kid in my house.
Well, you were the joke about it. The van door.
Yes.
Gavin can't shut the van door.
Yeah. You're like, why are you... Suddenly there's another person in your house, and you're like, listen, I walk around in my underwear in my house. You have to leave. I can't have you here, like, for a full shower cycle the next day. Why are you still here? You're here for 5 meals?
Yeah. And you're going to take a shower here. Yeah. Oh, all right.
Okay. Do you need to do your homework while you're here? You know what? We'll just drive you into school. You know what? I guess we're raising you.
You need a tutor. No, I came outside, and yes, our laundry's outside, and all of the bedding and all of the towels
had been taken outside.
Were put on the washer that's broken, and I was like, oh, fantastic. Great.
Come get your kid. Come get your kid. Parents, come get your kid from my house after the sleepover, after the party. I am not your babysitter.
I do think that, Andy, maybe you know about this, when you're like, I hosted, so, like, if you could pick them up.
Yes.
That would be famous. I mean, like, I could drop them off, but,
oh my gosh.
But the least you could do would pick them up because I hosted them.
That's insane. If you expect a host to take a kid home,
they do.
Crazy.
They do. The audacity.
That's
the audacity of some parents to think that I'm hosting and dropping your kid off. Am I getting paid child support for this? Do we have shared custody of your child? I better be getting some payments from you for this. Do you know how much gas is right now? Get your kid from my house. This is not my kid. I have no affection for this child. I have no affection for it. This is my kid's friend who I kind of like. This wouldn't have been my first choice for the sleepover. Get your kid out of my house, or it's going to have to start doing chores.
It's like, someone has to put these dishes away.
Yeah. I'm already worried about scarring my kids from the noises coming from our bedroom.
Just wait till he sees undie time.
Yeah. Unless your kid wants to see my patchy chest hair, but full back hair, come get your kid out of my house. Get your freaking kid. I hate that so much. It's like, but you know what it is like, just text me. If you're running late, just text me. You know what? FaceTime me.
Okay, but there are parents who are like, hey, pool party, you know, big flex. Pool party.
There's no pool party tonight.
2 to 5.
No pool party. Yeah, that's a deep one. Yeah.
So 2 to 5, and then, like, it's like 6:30, and they're like, no, it's cool. Like, the party doesn't have to end.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, the parents who are like, park at 4:45 and be at my door.
Yeah.
You know?
Just be one or the other. Or
do not drop your kid off early to a kid-only birthday party.
Yeah.
And then pick them up late.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because they're late if they're staying, the parent's staying, but they're early if it's a drop-off.
Yep. I got a question for you. When you were a kid sleeping over at a house, what was worse?
Oh, God.
Waking up before the whole family
this makes me nervous.
Or waking up after the whole family.
They were both terrible.
Yeah,
because you get either you go, oh, someone was tired.
Look who finally woke up.
And you're like,
yeah.
You know.
But as a parent, it's the opposite, where you're like, if I wake up after that kid, I'm like, whoa, my gosh.
I forgot you were over.
Did you sleep?
How long have you been up?
That was what it was, is I kept having to put on sweat. Like, I am an underwear sleeper, and that's how I move around the house for the first 15 to 20 minutes of my day, all right?
Or at night.
This is my abode. I can do it. But then I was like, oh, my gosh, middle of the night, she might be up.
She could be in the bathroom.
She could be in the bathroom. I got to freaking put on clothes.
I know.
Anyway, they're all bad.
When Joel has friends over, you're like, there's another man in the house.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And
I don't like the way they're sweaty looking at you.
But
dude, your mom's pretty fine.
You try and put them in the living room, like on the pull-out couch, you know, like bed. But they'll just go anywhere. One time we had like 5 friends over, and I gave them 2 sleeping bags.
And they're like, thanks, Mrs. Nickerson.
They just like,
that's all we need. That's all we need.
They didn't even have pillows.
No, I just need this. You know what? I didn't get a sleeping bag, so I just used the towel, the hand towel. You know, I didn't want to ask.
But they don't care. Guys are like that.
It's true.
But you hear their deep voices all night, and you're like, who's in my house?
You know what's interesting about this is that this particular one, like, there's a little more sympathy when it's like multiple kids. You said something interesting. We were talking about this earlier today about, for a long time, I was always like, man, if you don't have multiple kids, you don't know what we're going through. But you realize, we're realizing now as parents, the parents in your life that have one kid are very valuable in your life.
Oh, 1,000%, because they aren't overwhelmed. They read all the handouts they get. All the emails from the schools, the coaches, and so they have information for you that you have not given yourself time to figure out. And so they'll be like, will you be at that meeting tomorrow for the field trip planning?
Yeah.
And you're like, no, could you take some notes for me? and they can.
Yeah.
And that is a very valuable ally in your parenting life, because they can drive your kid. They can host your kid for a sleepover. It's no big deal.
You can pick them up on time. Yeah. Yeah.
They'll be there.
Yeah.
They're reliable.
It is really important to have, it's not important to have non-parent friends. It is important to have a one parent or a one.
Absolutely.
It's not important to have non-parent friends. It is important to have a one child parent friend. Like you said, that's an asset to you, because they really, they're so plugged in.
They so are.
They had drinks with the teacher that night.
Oh, they know the teachers really well. Yeah, because they had the time to get to know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do the assignments and the projects. They're just not like winging it like us.
Yeah.
And
they volunteer in the classroom.
Dropping balls. And they will take photos of your kids at functions that you would have never had time to take.
They'll Photoshop you in them.
Hey, I just thought maybe if you had been at this, you would have liked to have been in the photo.
Yeah, it's like having an assistant on the Zoom call.
Yes.
It's like having an assistant. It's like having someone just like...
They're going to fill you in on the info you don't know.
Yeah.
But you should know.
It's like when you get to a meeting and someone's like, hey, is one person taking notes?
For everyone.
For everyone. So we don't all have to take notes. If you could just take notes, you know.
But there is a nice thing about... Andy's got 4 kids. We have 3 kids. There is a nice thing about a family that are also raising their 3rd child. And that we have friends. It's their 3rd and our 3rd.
Right.
And they're friends. And we are giving the same amount of effort.
Yes.
For that 3rd child.
Yeah.
And so there is...
What's their name again?
No... There's no judgment.
None.
Because we're both just trying to manage our older teenagers, and then we just happen to have 9-year-olds.
Yeah.
How much Fortnite are they playing? Well, they're playing together.
I don't. I will. I don't covet the life of a non-parent. I do sometimes covet the life of someone who has one kid. I'm like, oh man, you're so free. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Oh,
you got to be a parent and you're free.
And an adult.
Take and eat it.
Oh my gosh, you get to be. Yeah, that's amazing. You get to be a. Say it again. You get to
be a parent and an adult. Yes, I am gonna go to that concert.
You got to have all the fulfillment of parenthood without giving up your adulthood. One kid for the win, and now you can help other parents.
And me specifically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, they're researching colleges.
Yes.
They know about that senior trip.
Yes.
They understand FAFSA.
Yep. One parent.
Their kid took the PSATs and they've already checked the scores.
This has turned into an appreciation for one child households. You are
carrying us.
Yeah, carrying us. You are
filling the gaps.
You are the president of parents. Because you have time to be.
Mm-hmm. And we need you.
We need you.
We need you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. We salute you.
Yep. Thank you, Shay.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a shout out to specific. All right.
We could only stop raising entitled kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
plus one big families minus column.
You are absolutely perfect. Other than how your children turn out. Thank you for sacrificing how awful that kid is going to be. For the sake of the greater parenthood. One child parents, you are heroes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Your kid sucks.
No,
Your kid sucks.
They're good. They're loved. And they know it.
And that's why they suck.
They know it.
You think that's going to make a good adult, knowing that you're loved?
Yeah.
I mean, you'll be healthy. You'll be healthy, but you'll give nothing to the rest of us because you have no needs. You have to be needy so you can give people things. To make good things.
To be an artist.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's do an email, everybody.
Okay. All right.
This is from Daniel. You guys shoot us emails at dontmakemecomebackthere at gmail.com. Oh, also, we have reached the annual, this is an annual tradition.
It is.
Holiday horror stories. It's two syllables on that one, horror. And
it's time.
It is time. Andy's new. This will be Andy's first cycle of this, so give us good ones. Tell us about your holidays gone wrong. I want to hear ER visits. I want to hear an uncle in jail. I want to hear it took 4 hours to build a dollhouse, and then I spent more money at Dave & Buster's trying to entertain the kids while you built that than the dollhouse cost.
Mm-hmm.
Give us, I want to hear.
We want to hear it.
I want to hear.
Travel. Planes, trains, and automobiles.
I want to hear drunken fights. I want to hear travel delays. I want to hear storms. Holiday horror stories. Give us the worst of the worst. Don't make me come back there, gmail.com. This is not one of those. This is from Daniel. Daniel's a good friend of the pod.
Hey, Daniel.
Subject. I deleted the subject. Oh, marriage story. There it is. Here we go.
All right.
Hello, Dustin and Mel. The wife and I had a shotgun wedding on a Sunday afternoon in July of 2002. I was 19 and she was 18. That's not important to the story. It seems like it is. It seems like, but who doesn't love a shotgun wedding? Having been married for more than 20 years now, you can imagine all the fun and all the fights along the way. My wife kept telling me how she couldn't sleep at night, and it was my fault. What did I do? I bought an expensive bed for myself and put it in our closet. At first, I missed having her next to me and our pillow talk that would sometimes go deep into the night. Now I sleep better than ever, and she still doesn't sleep well. I guess I wasn't the problem. Weird. Love you guys. Keep the pods coming. Your essential oils as a backseater. Daniel Owens. Thanks for the email. Here's to husbands staying in the closet. All right. Do you have something else?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think you marry a non-sleeper. Sleepers marry a non-sleeper.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes.
All right, who's
Interesting.
I'm the non-sleeper. She's the sleeper.
I'm a sleeper.
And Mercedes?
Non-sleeper.
There you go.
Yeah. Clearly it works.
Yeah, because my marriage is fine. We're just fine.
Crushing it.
We're so fine.
Crushing it. Thanks for that, bunny. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, folks, want to give a special shout out to our As Essential as Oils patrons. Ooh, that's $25 up a month. That's a big money right there. What you get is you get a special shout out on this podcast at the end right now. So, first up,
April Griffiths.
Adam Bush.
Allison Nelson.
Bonnie Galindo.
Carrie Teague.
Caroline Crimmins.
Code to Grow.
Courtney Eibling.
Damaris Diaz-Stevens.
Dan and Chelsea Morell.
Daniel Owens.
David and Melissa Cox.
Dave Hoagland.
Isaac Teron.
Jason White.
Jennifer Ashley Downs.
Jessica Handurand.
Joshua and Nikki Platt.
Jordan Lara.
Jordan Cowan.
Juliana Smith.
Lori Amos.
Matt and Sam Slosdom.
Nathan and Jennifer Merritt.
Nicole Caros.
Rachel Wilson.
Rachel Kennedy.
Robert and Nellie Capin.
Stephen Menya.
And Tiffany Payne. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bam, 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 bam.